Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our definition, or with our derivation, one and the same, what is sensorality? So, fun little episode today, definitely got some good chunk of derivation, you'll see, and you'll know. But wanted to start off with some good theft. Again, my rights are violated. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution gives you a right to your writings and discoveries. I've proven the form of logic. The Fifth Amendment gives you, or supposed to guarantee you, just compensation for private property, that is my discovery, used for public use. So, started off, turned on my little trading terminal, turned on CNBC, and we see the great, under our great leader, the supreme leader, Donald Trump, we have a great industry titan, Jeff Bezos. And so, he's up there with his CEO, Vic Bajaj, and Vic Bajaj articulates something to the effect of, paraphrasing, but a good chunk of verbatim. It's not just about mathematics, it's about shapes. And let's rewind the From Rhythm to Algorithm series to shapes change. Again, it's a direct geometric sequence. And so while that might seem like a nice, innocuous, simple statement, it's not about mathematics, which again, no one in acknowledged academia knows what it is. But it's thematics, and that's a low-level proof step. It's directly literal. But he's talking about what is mathematics at an analytical sense. Like, what is mathematics functionally? And so we're making this huge logical differentiation all of a sudden between geometry and mathematics. And so, wow, that's almost like stealing private property in the public without just compensation. But that's exactly and directly what it is. And so he goes on to say, it's not just about mathematics, it's about shapes and how they fit together. You have to know physics. It gets really complicated, like the three-body problem. So again, direct form of logic being stolen from me by a major company. And I'm not even looking for this stuff. I just turn it on, and it's not possible to avoid it at this point. I continue to ask for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. And again, it's not Amazon, it's Bradazon. All of your companies are insolvent. I mean, you can't, it is what it is. That is direct theft. There's such a huge logical differentiation. And again, all of academia doesn't know what mathematics is right now today. It's just turtles all the way down? Oh, nope, it's just fraud, racketeering, conspiracy. And as we covered yesterday, you're bounded by consensus and by your culture, and nobody can do what is right. And so, again, Jeff Bezos, that is a direct statement and direct violation of the Constitution. And fun fact, you're not going to be able to settle. There's no more value in this society possible than fundamental scientific proof, demonstrating the form of all of logic to the point where it's not physically possible to avoid it, as we see with your CEO. So that's fun. Again, but can somebody pay me a little bit of money? Obviously not. But moving through our derivation steps, and it's actually a fun one. Please be older than 13, or at least don't get offended by words. Or don't speak French. The fun part's in French. So moving through our steps. And hopefully I don't mess up the French. Obviously I don't speak and articulate French all of that much, but hopefully you'll get what I'm putting down. Sensorality is a census of consensus, counting opinion. What is lethality to thermality? Right? Thermal equilibrium. All equilibrium is thermal. That's another good shout out, just calling out anybody I see associated with academia that just happens to pop up on my YouTube. Not looking for anybody specific, but Dr. Laura Anderson from Virginia Tech, but on the Phi Maths. Indian fellow, right, an amalgamation of physics and math, which again, we solved the whole thing. But she's on there and she says the universe is expanding. Nope, again, the universe is not expanding, it is contracting. When things cool down, they contract, and you have, what's the right word? Again, you have dichotomy in the data set, right? The same physical existence, same physical measurements can produce the logic of the universe is expanding or the universe is contracting. The same things produce distance increasing. And so, again, hot things cool down, contraction. And that's what's occurring. But we're still up there. Dr. Anderson is still up, Laura Anderson, saying the universe is expanding because, again, they have careers, they have jobs. They would never in any universe tell them they themselves know what to do here or do there, or they've never proven anything. Again, physicists would typically never say, I've proven something. But again, You guys don't do physics, you guys don't do mathematics, you don't do computer science, you don't do linguistics. We just do fraud. That's what we just do, and we chase our careers. And so, again, we have this culture of physics. And you just get in there and we say, you know, we have the universe is expanding, you know, quantum mechanics is going to unify general relativity with string theory. And then all of the critics are like, all humbug about string theory. And it's just this, like, history. It's like this broken history of physics that they don't even get right about the actual fundamentals. What is work? What is energy? What is momentum? What is power? A moment is a fraction of momentum. But they're just, again, we're just at a point where everyone's just committing so much crime. You just turn on your stock terminal and there's the most valuable company right there. Or I guess Nvidia is the most valuable. But Jeff Bezos starts off selling books and now he's just stealing all of Brad's shit and he can't not. And it's just like, can anybody pay me a little bit of money? And then our professors, again, on smaller YouTube channels are just up there just saying the same bullshit. Amazing. All of it's directly illegal. But thermality to lethality, everything's cooling down. That is why you eat, right? A calorie is a unit of heat to sustain thermality. Is lethal legal? Is lethal ordinal? Again, emphasizing this TH relationship, showing some complete form of all specific solution, or all solutions with a specific solution, sensorality. Thermality is theme. Thermality is themality. Again, natural definition, direct iteration, we just remove the R from thermality and then you get themality. And if you said, what is the theme of physics? It would be thermodynamics. And then linguistically preserved, thermo is theme iterated. But yeah, Jeff Bezos and Vic Bajaj, he deserves, and it's actually hilarious getting more to even taking a quick, I might just again make all of my content kind of amalgamate together because I really like doing the scholarship with books. I mean, that's a very poignant, again, because I'm completing the logic from authors, from researchers, from people. But economically and just like from an entrepreneurial business sense, it's just seeing this consensus, right? How am I supposed to, Vivek being the CEO and Jeff being the owner, Vivek is much more, again, like, you can kind of see this dude talk to himself in the mirror and then he's like, now he's in front of his boss and he still has to like sound good. And you can just feel that dynamic. You can just immediately feel that. And so, again, it's just like this weird kind of performance. And then Jeff literally goes and says like, I can leave the room if you want a candid answer. Like everyone senses this shit. And it's like, why do people just not be real? It's just such a weird thing. So that was just a quick business aside. But again, in terms of the diction you put forth, you're trying to echo consensus. You're trying to say, this sounds good out loud. I don't want to sound stupid in front of my boss. And then you just default to like the most accepted things and then +1, right? We're going to do, basically, I'm going to say all of the things everybody's heard before, but then I'm going to say, you know, we're contrarian. And so it's like there's a little edginess to that. You can just see all of this, again, behavior defaulting to this context, a boss and like an employee, and then you can see the language like defaulting. It's just weird. I mean, it's all criminal as we covered, but thermality is themality. Thermality is the theme of sensorality. Right? We're calculating physics or linguistics to physics. What is a sensor, literally? And the proof is we're exhausting all of the letters that could represent that concept. Sensorality is thermal equilibrium, the whole thing. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is themiality. Themiality, kind of a uninspired step, but just generalizing again with this identity I-E-A. The difference between 3 and 8 is 5. The difference between E and A is I. Is humidity thermal? What is humidity to liquidity? What is humidity to humiliation, right? Vivek Bajaj does not want to be humiliated. He's up there presenting in front of the great Jeff Bezos. He can't say the wrong things, and then he just commits direct fraud, racketeering, conspiracy. That's like as wrong as you could say. That's just immediately direct stealing the form of logic that's not known. Right? Remember, these steps are not known unless you're stealing from this. But then I can show you the clip of Sean Carroll saying, everybody knows, everyone's committing crimes. Right? Nobody likes those team takeovers, right, guys? And a bunch of kids, age is just a number, a bunch of kids just get in a group and do whatever they want? Yeah, that kind of sucks, doesn't it? See any any irony there? Any things that might reflect your behavior? Moving along. What is liquidity to timidity? What is humidity to timidity? Right, I'm timid to go outside, it's too humid. It very much is, and that is very true. Sodality is sodality. Just reducing some consonants, natural definition, direct iteration, again, directly linguistically. A lot of these letter chunks, I think specifically the sense, right? There's more than one sense, and there's just like a fundamental two. Again, I still think there's only two things, vision and touch, but nothing is touching. We're showing this complete physical, logical model, reducing it. But it's just some sort of fundamental differentiation of sense, and then we have that represented linguistically, and the SEN is kind of like packaging or something. Because that's not France. That's not a secret France word, on, which we're getting to the French part. But there's that base E, and then some sort of consonants N, and then the iteration element S, is that SEN for sensorality. But now we're in sodality, and again, sensorality is still the solvable linguistic thing. That's our working definition. But sodality contains sensorality directly linguistically and conceptually, and then we just take that SEN, sensorality is sodality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is sod, right? Like the grass, fake grass, sod. Sod, solder, but then solder spelled like sold-er. Sensorality is sodality, right? Sensorality, sodality. We have this irreducibility that we can never break. We've never been able to break this whole time, and only because Brad's way developed in linguistics that he can show these results is the biggest thing that people don't get. Is we've never been able to break this irreducibility this entire time, and I just have to conceptualize everything in a way that you can follow to show you the differentiation of language, which is already the world you live in. But yeah, Vivek Bajaj needs another big raise, not Brad. Yeah, that makes sense. But literally, sensorality is sodality. Two well-defined things, and we're just showing this complete iteration of syllability. Sensorality is sodality. Natural definition, direct iteration. And then we're back to, again, like yeast in Russian, like to eating. But then if you said yes in English, like the affirmation, da in Russian, yes, yeast. Like you still get that, like it's that, you can't, the pronunciation is preserved. And then the association of meaning to those sounds is just different things. But the same reason you put yeast, like that Y sound in front of any word in Russian that has just the letter E, is the same way you say yes in English, like directly, literally. But sensorality is sodality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is a data center. A lot of agentic workflow at the data center. Sensorality is an incense center. Natural definition, direct iteration. So hopefully I do not mess this up. Pour mon cher monsieur macaroni. Quoi fait l'homme noir? Dit qu'on lui a demandé s'il sera allé à la soirée. You heard me, monsieur. And I'll translate that into English for you before we give our answers. What did the man black, what did the black man say when... So actually constructing the French sentence here, I wasn't like, right, on lui a demandé. We have demanded, but asked, of him, without the of. I just don't like the Louis, quoi est Louis, like the functionality. I just don't like that. I don't like that sentence structure. But you heard what I said. So we asked of him if he will be going to the soiree, right? The night party. So a couple things going on here. You might be saying, what's your answer? So again, quoi fait l'homme noir dit qu'on lui a demandé S'il sera allé à la soirée. Ooh ah, ooh ah. Well, Brad, why would the black man say ooh ah when he was being asked if he was going to the night party? Because in France, où à is where at. Où la soirée à. So obviously, Brad, you just wanted to make a racism joke. No and yes. The syllability où à, right? If you said, what sound is that is like what sound, so there's another part to this. So we'll continue on. But that was, again, it was supposed to be a lightly racist joke, but highlighting this fundamental association of ooh, ah, where at, right? He just said, where's the party at, right? Gotcha. I got you, Monsieur Macaroni. But a soir noir, right? Emphasizing this direct iteration of soir noir, right? Fête ou soirée, right? Party, fête, soirée, night, a. Again, it's a direct iteration. But what does le songe say? Right? Why monkey a songe? Songe a sing e. Like directly linguistically, the construction. What does a monkey say? Ooh ah. And then a slight racist joke. I wanted to package it up and deliver it in a nice, fun way. But again, this realization of ooh ah, it's onomatopoeia, or it's, what does the monkey say? You'll say ooh ah. But then the real understanding and realization is French sounds primitive, right? But it's just a fundamental association of sound to meaning ou ah, where at. And then monkey in French is songe, spelling out linguistically sing e. And again, that's this chunk of derivation presented in this order. And it was just in French. Again, it was the ou ah part. And then I can speak enough and write enough in French. I just don't like the on Louis a demander. Just the natural progression. I did not like that construction. But, because whenever, as a native English speaker, constructing sentences in other languages, it always just feels like specifically en français, qu'est-ce que, non, est-ce que, is it that, right? It is what it is, est-ce que, et clairement. But qu'est-ce que, I've never liked that. And it always just feels like you have these forming a question or structuring a sentence, being grammatically correct. If it's cumbersome, it just feels like, again, get your concepts in the right order, and then the linguistics is trivial to sentence structure, right? You just have to ask the right thing in the right way. And that's with any language. Again, if just people aren't, I don't even say literate, but if the people are just not articulate, like if they don't know what they're trying to say and they just have a big ramble on and you're like, I don't know what they're saying. The on Louis a demander, that structure just felt, it felt more forced. Like I was just kind of, okay, what do I say here? But again, I feel very confident in French. But again, that was just the presentation. But le songe dit quoi? Again, all kids, the onomatopoeia, association independent of a language is ou ah. Then you just have that meaning directly in French as where at. Then also ensuite, entonces, right? Ensuite is like a word people will use, like, hey, I have a house with an ensuite. But ensuite, like in the natural usage, is entonces, then. There's something else that popped up. Back to English. What is soldering to welding? What is soldering to sodding? Like sod, back to sensorality is sodality. Sensorality sods, sensorality nods. What is consensus to contention? Living is contending. All right, that was a fun one yesterday. Life is a sentience license. What is contention to condescension? Sensorality ascends. Sensorality is ascensionality. Here's another fun logical one. Extraordinary is out of place. We have to do that one with a British accent every time. But extraordinary, right? Extraordinal. Ordinal is sequential. Ordinality is placement. If you're extraordinal, you're out of place. Makes sense. Fun one. Speciality is extra. And then the conceptual consensus usage, all that basic bitch, she's so extra. OMG. Speciality is extra, sensorality extricates. Sensorality accentuates. Sensorality senses accent. And again, the consensus phrasing, do I sense an accent? Where are you from? What is accent to incense? Again, I said, emphasizing I said incense like smell. But really incense is aroma, and then you smell aroma. Right, what is odorality to aromality? Aromiality. Aroma generalized. To throw some words on the screen. What is account to accent? Emphasizing the direct iteration of the letters. What is an accent to an accent mark? All right, so typically if you ask somebody, hey, like, where's your accent from? The step we just went through. It's more of like I almost want to say slang there. Like you're just like modifying the pronunciation. But then if you have an accent mark, it's like to preserve pronunciation. And making a logical point between a physical accent, someone sounding a different way, whether that be a whole language or a different region, a dialect, versus an accent mark, a linguistic symbol to represent some sort of preservation of pronunciation. But obviously it's an accent to an accent mark. Fundamental theorem of expression, don't worry, it wasn't just slight racism. Wow is ooh ah. Right? Wow, ooh ah, it's so impressive, right? So that's a fundamental sound association. Wow is ooh ah. And now here, again, because again, we're using sensorality to show some sort of fundamental differentiation logically in language. And then the linguistics is the finalizing, reducing proof. So what is wow to awe? Right, last time we talked about wonder and awe, being an awareness of absolute size. It absolutely is. But what is wow to awe? Is wonder awful? And then we have that fundamental conceptual thing you just heard me say it. Awe, as in wow, to awful, as in bad connotation, that's awful. Disgusting is awful. And then we have this conceptual awareness. There aren't really bad words. We just have perversion to normal functionality, and those are bad words. But sensorality is awe-full. Sensorality is awful. Fundamental theorem of emotion. Right? Anytime somebody says awful, that's sensorality. But we're just using this linguistic representation to show completeness. Now, what is awe? Like, oh, that's so cute, to awe, like wow. What is awe cute? What is cute to wow? What is awe to are? Right? The fundamental verb is to are. Is identity, are is what? Is awe or a the first sound? So now I do want, if you're just listening, look at your screen. Because it's spelled out A-W-E for awe, and then A-Y-E for A. But it, again, preserves those sounds uniquely. So what is awe to A is the complete linguistic representation of when people say the accent mark A or ah in all of these Romanized alphabets. All of them. That's like the complete correct spelling. Is base first? So now we're back into the world we've always been in, but the alphabet, again, what is this consolidation of an alphabet? Like, what is it preserving? We have this chirality in grammar, very clearly, that's what you stumble over. That's why prepositions are interesting. And we have this immediate identity. E is the base, empirical evidence, all of the tones in the English alphabet, most of them, the mode is the most, is E. The base is E of the natural log, consolidated by the entirety of mathematics, and the guitar tuning consolidating to the anatomy of the human being, E. And so then we have the geometric inversion, A, which it has to be some sort of phonetic changing, but that's a good point to point out, is it's that the consequence of that reality is contained within the logic already. So that's not where it's like, I need to figure out what's the frequency of the sound E and the sound A and what's their numbers relation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even kind of matter. Well, it does matter, but not for fundamental proofing. But we have E as the base, right? That's a statement. And then we have the difference between E and A is I. And then so what is this consolidation of an alphabet? What is, we're trying to pull all of this stuff together. Is inverse second, right? Is base first, is inverse second. A and A is clearly the first letter in our consolidation of information with E the base. So why? And what is that relationship? A the first element, A the first element, E the fifth element, or A, right? E or A in the fifth element. But overall, just some sort of inversion, some sort of inverse E and A proven by the ash symbol throughout history. Is verse first, right? In verse second, is verse first. Is verse base. How do letters preserve pronunciation? So again, that's just where I finished up with the derivation. The French part was fun. I hope I articulated that well. Slight racism, but again, it was a fun. I thought that was a fun presentation. Because again, it's like, can you sell me a pen? Like the most cliche bullshit ever in entrepreneurship. But it kind of highlights, can you take this banal everyday object and make it interesting or make it different? In comedy, can you make the same shitty joke? Like Donald Trump, he tweeted the Obamas with just the monkey head screeching. That wasn't educational. Le songe, quoi fait le songe dit? That's educational. I think that's, what did the monkey say? Yep. Okay. But that is what I have for now. And again, as we started off with, it's directly literal. You turn on Jeff Bezos, the great leader of Bradazon. It's my company now. You're insolvent. Your freaking CEO is literally sitting on CNBC saying, that is such a huge logical differentiation. We're not just talking about mathematics. Again, academia doesn't know what mathematics is. Right now, today. Oh, but it's not about mathematics, meaning numbers. It's about how shapes fit together. Shapes changes in purple letters all like 2 days ago. And it's the same logical structure. Everything I'm presenting in video content, besides the sensorality part, the completion of this analysis process of a specific solution demonstrating the form of all solutions is already completely done and has been stolen from me, along with my time and my time with my family. But everybody else gets to live, and I don't get to have a family of my own. And we destroyed Brad's health, and we destroyed Brad's life, but no one cares. Great examples for your kids, guys. I just can't emphasize that enough, that nobody cares about anything, and now you're gonna oh, kids, I definitely didn't just compete over nothing all day, every day, and yeah, I definitely did that. Why did we play games all day for our whole lives? Well, I don't care, not my problem. You committed crimes, severe damage to society, pay me my money, and I don't even care. There's such an absence of morality. I just want my money and the fuck away from weirdos. But no one cares. My life continues to tick away. But it's fun derivation episode today. That's what I have for right now. See you on the next one.